Greetings and welcome to Roman of the Empire. Hey, just for what we like to call shits and grins in the business, can you guys hear me? I'm having a slight audio issue, and I want to make sure that we are functional. So because that's always a hoot when you're not. So please let me know because we're live, but you know, it's a funny thing. If I wasn't having technical problems, you probably wouldn't even know I was here at all. So tonight we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to do something a little different. Um, because we know there are a lot of things out there that are not particularly good. Um, Gary just went to see Thor: Love and Thunder tonight, and that didn't go well. We have Miss Marvel, The Rings of Power. Oh, Lord, The Rings of Power. She-Hulk, or Shrek-Hulk, as they like to call her. There's Thor: Love and Thunder in all its glory. God help us all. Ah, jeez. So, there's all of that out there, right? And that's not what I want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about things that we actually enjoy. So, again, if anybody in the audience, limited though it may be, could just let me know if I'm coming through. Like I said, sorry about the my continued technical difficulties. Fun. But so, like I said, there's a lot of bad things to discuss, but we're not going to talk about any of this tonight. We're going to talk about things that are fun, because that's something we don't get to do enough of. So let me check the comments there. See who's in the house, as the kids like to say. Rosie's in here. Salty, Texas. Good to see you, brother. Purple Valkyrie, nice to see you. Zax, my brother, good to see you. And that looks about the extent of the house thus far. So, talking nerdy to me, big boy. I'm here for you. So, what we are going to do is, like I said, we're going to talk about some of the shows out there on streaming that are good shows to watch. And I know there's not a ton, but there's literally always something out there if you're looking for something good to watch. So let's go to the folder so we can have some visual stuff, which will probably freeze up, but it wouldn't be a Roman of the Empire broadcast unless I was freezing up. Oh, so awkward. So, one of the big shows that's out right now, and I don't need to even talk about it a whole lot because it's been covered quite a bit, and I think for very good reason. The thad that shouldn't be. Hail, brother. Is the Terminal List. The Terminal List is one of the best things that has happened in a long time for not just a drama series, but I would say specifically a military drama series. And I would say this is easily Chris Pratt's best work, big screen or small. He is just great in this. We get some really good interactions between Spec Ops members, regular people, and DOD, big DOD folk, civilian contractors like this lovely gentleman here, Mr. Horn. I mean, the show is about, if you just read the brief note of it, a former Navy SEAL, which actually isn't accurate, officer investigates why his entire platoon was ambushed during a high-stakes covert mission. Well, what the show is about is a lot more than that. It's about betrayal. It's about family. Chris Pratt, again, I can't praise his performance in this enough. He's great doing his comedy and more lighthearted work. But in this, he goes heavy. He does not just do well with the combat stuff. He does well with a man who is dealing with trauma and grief. And it's very impressive to see. One of the other things I liked about this show, there's so many things. Everything, you like to try to formulate in your mind what's going to happen before it happens. In this show, you don't necessarily get to all the endings you're predicting. You get to some pretty cool and interesting places. And I like that. I like not being able to figure it out right off the bat. That's not a lot of fun for me. This image here, you'll forgive me if I take a drink of whiskey, is so good. This scene is so good. Definitely a more brutal show, but man, well done. They use actual locations on North Island, which I think is really cool. It's not just, random SEAL operation stuff. They look at actually where Harley, so yeah, if it doesn't get a slew of awards, yeah, that's wrong. That would be absolutely wrong. There is no woke content in here at all, which is you wouldn't expect there to be, and there is not. There's a reporter. Let me see if I have her loaded in here. I love that. That's all the operators together. That's just a badass picture. Chris Pratt. There she is. So she's a reporter, and you're not really sure which way she's going to go with this. And it's again, things don't move the way you expect them to, and the characters, like the reporter, what was her name? Kelly. Nope. That's wrong. Look at me being wrong just almost immediately. Hell, I lost the reporter. Anyway, it's not really that important. What is important is the quality of the production of this 8-episode series. And you get the CIA guy. Again, the military stuff in this was actually very well done. This is that's one of the things you could, as a former military guy, I tend to pick apart. I think most of you guys out there who have been in or around the military probably do the same thing. This actually did a really good job. Bouncing them. You're a hobbit. What can you do? So I was impressed by really just everything about the show. The way it was filmed, the way the characters were, and you didn't really have any just kind of extra baggage, and that was also very. So one of the big shows to watch right now I love, and I think a lot of you guys feel exactly the same way I do about it. So Harley, I know you do. Forgive the whiskey. I am working in a. We've talked about the of the Empire studio. They're a little warm. It's not always inviting out here. So one series we're going to discuss. Let me look at the list. Oh, this is, and I don't know if everybody's watching. And goal is not to spoil any of this. So I'm trying to keep it pretty goosey as far as actual discussion points. I just want to talk about, like I said, these are things I dig right now, and kind of the why of it. And oh, hi, Alasia. Um, and I don't think it's hard to find a lot of things that are difficult to find in the terminal list that are really enjoyable. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to talk about with that is his role as a husband and father. Now, granted, that's a fairly limited time in the movie. And if you've seen the previews, the program, you know that. But when you get him acting as a husband and father, he does a spectacular job with it. I know, Alasia, and God willing, it's going to go all right, and nothing's going to go, you know, so wrong. But that's part of the fun experience of the moment of the Empire broadcast. You don't necessarily know what you're going to get. So we were just talking about this. So that depicts another good, strong male role model. And now they do mix it up a little bit here. And what series am I talking about? I am talking about For All Mankind on Apple. That started its season 3. Jack Carr, let's see, show. Are only going to do after show videos about the episodes. Oh, that's good. That'll be interesting to see. Chris Pratt just seems such a very relatable, normal human, which is very peculiar in his line of work. So, For All Mankind on Apple right now. This series blew me away. I did not expect what I got out of this. So, the gist of it, and again, if you've seen the previews for the show, you know the context. I actually didn't. I went into this thing blind. It's what if the Russians got to the moon first? You wouldn't think it would be so different, but man, was it different. Joel Kinnaman plays Ed Baldwin. He's your primary character, and you start back in the early 60s, and now we're through the 90s on this program. And you go all the way through Mercury, Gemini, into Apollo. The first of the first people on the moon, well, not the first, but one of the first, is a female astronaut. So NASA does the usual U.S. military knee-jerk reaction. And I know, Harley, it is hard to give Apple money. Somehow I'm watching it. But the series is worth your time. So, again, the usual U.S. military knee-jerk reaction, well, if they sent one, we need to have a whole bunch go up. And so it's like that. But the things that I love about it are the technology leaps that happen because the space race is a lot. It's not just up there. There are a lot of resources they're trying to mine on the moon. Make water into rocket fuel. Harvesting the helium. All of these things. Actually setting up moon bases. All the stuff is pretty sci-fi, but they do it in a very grounded way. And you follow a lot of people who were real life, astronauts as well. They're not just all fictional characters. To meet Gus Grissom for the amount of time he survived, but it's cool to see him. And Sally, you get an alternate history for Sally Ride as well, which is pretty neat. I love this image because it's upsetting. The first flag on the moon was not an American flag. So these two characters are interesting. So I'm terrible with names in life too, so it's not just on here. So Margot is the lady with the glasses, and with her is Ellen Rowe. She's starts off as an astronaut and then moves into different places within the agency. And Margot is like the first woman uh, controller in NASA, and then she moves into up the line. But so some I don't want to call it woke because it's not. It really was fitting with a lot of things. The first doing something, the first African American doing something, but in the context of the age. It's not like today where a lot of these things are actually established and people got no reason. So on the show are very good. This is a character called Joe Stevens. One of the great heroes of the show. He and his wife are astronauts, and this actor for season 2 gained 40 pounds for his character. And you want to talk commitment? That's some damn commitment. Do I have I think I have on my feed. Oh no. No, there we are. Anyway, sorry, I wandered there briefly. But committed to a role, and him and his wife have a just a slightly heartbreaking story loop. And you get some really unique tech. A gentleman later on in the series who's a lot like earlier version Elon Musk, if Elon were like in the 90s. Here's a couple of cosmonauts, probably stealing stuff from us. But that show, it's one of it's real top notch production wise. The writing is very good. They do, because modern television can't entirely leave it alone. Pardon me. That's the best thing for a live stream is coughing. People love coughing on a live stream. Where has my screen gone? Here we are. Okay, there we go. Stream brain. No, I guess I'm fine. Anyway, so the effects are good, the writing is good, and the characters themselves have depth. There's one of the characters, Molly Cobb. So she was now NASA originally back early in NASA had a female astronaut corps, and then they scraped it off because of the Russian bring them back. One of those astronauts is Molly Cobb. And Molly's journey is fantastic. She is cynical as all, and I love the actress who does this. Sonia Walger. She's just great. Oh. Hey, John. It's good to see you. So if you'll notice, he told me tonight, my partner is on my own, floating in the ocean, just some whiskey. My tech, hopefully not freezing up on me. Never know. Oh, how far back is this thing? Okay, hang on. I'm watching my computer not be where I want it to be. Also not surprising. Are you really getting it to me? Again, I've mentioned this before, how sometimes I feel like a monkey nuclear device. Has anybody else seen that show? Has anybody else is familiar with that at all? For all mankind. I've been talking to it with PJ Maybe a bit. He's over in Scotland, and every now and then, because he's just starting the show, and I'm as far as I can go on right now. New episodes come out every Friday. But if you get a chance, check it out. It's a great show. So let's see. What's our next topic? Oh, this is a favorite, and I think it's something that most of us can agree on. I can't. I go on the Nerd Father on Fridays occasionally with Father Miller, and this is one that Father Miller will not watch. For him. And that, of course, is The Boys. I think The Boys is one of the best shows out there as well. Now, does it have its woke moment bullshit stuff? It does. But I find really the Thad, you thought the first season was boring. I enjoyed it. I like the realistic take on the superhero, realistic, with quotes around it because that's all it really can be. Um, I like the dark tape. I like the humor in it as well because there is humor. But Father Miller, yeah, he was like, no, that's something I cannot watch, and it's understandable why. These are all, even the good guys, deeply flawed characters. Really, Harley? Oh man, I absolutely love this show. Um, Especially season one. Season one was, I think, the best. Season two was okay, but they did introduce a lot of stuff, which was like, ah. But season three has been phenomenal because season three is they realized what they did in season two, which because they were poking at the right almost exclusively, and season three they poke at both the left and the right, and I think that's gonna work. More of a Chris Reeve Superman sort of Hobbit. I understand. It's not for everyone. I get it. But as a guy who's grown up in the comic book genre and being an aged gentleman, yeah, Zach's totally, man. Season three is much better than season two. Um, Fantasy is good. Superman, Chris Reeve Superman was that. That was the clean version of things. I do prefer the slightly grimy version of things. Call me a cynic. Call my soul dark and jaded and broken. You'd be right. But that's what the military will do to you after 30 years. So, again, season three, because I like the Soldier Boy storyline. He's there, not quite Captain America. The deep had issues. But the reason the show works so well is because of characters like the Deep that are not good or likable characters. They're terrible. But that makes the other characters like Annie, Starlight, shine so much more when the good characters get to be good. Um, well, yeah, you're not wrong, Thad. Um, it is essentially it's a yes, it's the good guys trying to beat the bad guys, trying to beat the good guys, trying to beat the bad guys. It is something of a cyclic loop. But what can I say? I'm still enjoying it, and I do like um, the fellow here, the fellow. Nice job, Roman. Jensen Ackles, which is a stupid name, but that's fine. From Supernatural, who Eric Kripke, of course, he does this show. He did Supernatural as well, and I liked Supernatural a lot, and I liked him as Dean. And I know it's a little fanboy over that, but that's okay. But I think it's a cool show, and I like they did, and Thad, if you've read it, you know as well. They have gone off the rails from the comics a great deal. What you're getting, much like they did with Walking Dead, is not the same thing. So, if you read the comics, the series is not the comics. You get the superhuman bureau watching over everything. Season 3, A-Train tries to rebrand himself. I like a lot of the humor in here as well. Here, let me. In fact, you know what? You write such good comments. I don't know. You'll have to forgive me a little bit again. I'm still working on my tech stuff. Does subversion a lot as part of his writing. The problem is he does the same subversions over and over again. At least Ellis and Moore change it. Oh, true. You're not wrong. I can't even argue the point. I can't even argue it. So the boys. And I also the other thing I like about the boys, because I'm sorry I ramble a little bit because that's all part of my charm. I like the boys team themselves, Billy Butcher, Mother's Milk, Frenchie, um, Huey, of course. Huey, if you don't have Huey, you don't even have a show. Um, Kamiko, the female, the girl who plays her on the show, Karen Fukuhara. Man, she is awesome. But I love the dynamic between the characters and the chemistry between the actors. Carl Urban is just a powerhouse to watch on stage, on the screen anyway. He's one of those guys that everything he's in is pretty much almost always good. I even liked him in Star Trek, and I didn't really prefer the new Star Trek, but I liked his version of Dr. McCoy a great deal. He did a great DeForest Kelly, and it's fine. I take the things I like because there just doesn't seem to be many of them anymore. Oh, and then Stan Edgar. He's the boss, of course, at VOD. I like this actor as well. You'll remember him from Breaking Bad, of course, and he's been around the block a little bit. But it's good to have bad guys you like. They make things a lot more interesting. Because who does bad guys good? DC has some great bad guys. Marvel has some pretty good bad guys. In like their cinematic universe, Marvel has one. I mean, with Thanos, of course. DC not so much. They had it with the Heath Ledger Joker, but a good bad guy is one that you can somehow almost relate because you're not a psychotic, but in some way, what is going on with my screen? There we are. Sorry. Again, if it wasn't for technical difficulties, I wouldn't be here at all. Hey, Cajun Corey. Garth, the superhero genre? Really? Oh, you know what? I think you're right. Zach, I think I've heard the same thing. Um, and they remember I don't. You probably know this as well that they wrote Starlight to be more of a punching bag of a character. She was going to take. Oh God, dear God, what the fuck, computer? Sorry guys, hang on, going off screen. What is that? Ah, no. I'll get the hang of this. When you don't plug your computer in, you get a low battery warning. Oh, God. No, Zach, I think you are correct on that point. Because, like I said, he wrote these characters not to be likable, especially superhero characters. The people who are likable are the folks who aren't heroes, with the exception of Annie. She's the only really non-character who you don't hate. I mean, Maeve as well. Maeve is a lot different in the comics books though. So there's that. So let's look at a couple other things here. My list that I imagine we will get through. So that's the other file. What did I want to talk about next? Oh, sorry, it's the freezing up. The freezing up is the end of me. Amazon called Outer Range. And I don't know how many people have seen or heard of this because we just kind of wandered across it by accident. I never heard of it. I saw that Josh Brolin was in a series and I was like, you know what? I think I'll check it out. Now, Outer Range is a rancher fighting for his land and family, discovers an unfathomable mystery on the edge of Wyoming's wilderness. So, yeah, Salty, cool. I'm glad there's someone else who's even heard of this. So Josh Brolin and his family they're the kind of the everyman ranchers. They're out there working their herd, doing their bit. One of his sons is a rodeo rider. The other one, I don't want to say he's a screw up. He's just a bit lackluster. His wife has disappeared. No one knows where she is, and his daughter is with him still. And there's of course always the questions about what happened to her. So his neighbor, who is, let's see, what was the neighbor's name? The Tillersons. They're the rich ranchers, and they're a bunch of assholes. There's no nice way to say it. So that's the land dispute. The Tillersons are trying to take part of they're the Abbotts. Is Josh Brolin plays Royal Abbott. And again, what I like about this show is it's absolutely nothing like you expect it's going to be. You have good characters. Royal is a family man. And then he discovers one day this weird giant hole on his land. Now, this is more than just a big giant hole. The series wouldn't be very interesting if it were just a big giant hole. It goes somewhere. And I'll leave you kind of with that. But again, this show takes you places that you don't expect to go. You have murder. You have betrayal. And you also have a lot of things that you don't expect. This show is not a fast burner. So that's something to really understand going into it. You're not getting, wow, bang all the time. The cinematography in this series is fantastic. You get to see Wyoming, and it is beautiful. And this is Autumn. She shows up to Royal's ranch looking to write a story or some damn thing. But again, the characters aren't what they seem to be. And that makes it a lot more interesting than just her showing up being some weird environmentalist chick or, who knows what. But it's good TV. And when it ends, you're, what? Why? And I like endings like that. Provided they bring the series back, of course, just a really horrible ending because it doesn't work. But as far as, it's a weird sci-fi Western, more heavy on the Western than the sci-fi, but it's absolutely worth checking out if you haven't. And I'm not getting the indication that a lot of folks, besides Salty, or besides Zach. Oh no, it's Salty and Zach. Okay, both of you have seen it. Okay, well, given that there are probably the only people out there that's good. So this is the other son. What was his name? Perry Abbott, and that's his daughter. And man, there are some sad scenes in here as well. And again, we go back to Autumn, the weird showing up girl, and that big freaky hole. And it's one of those shows you think about a lot after you are done watching it. And to me, those are some of the best ones, where you're now pondering what was that? And the questions about, in a similar situation, what would you do? Because these characters act a lot like normal people. They don't do things that are really a lot of out of character for just about everybody. You can see yourselves in the roles of these characters, and that's good. And again, Royal is a good father and a good family man, and I like the way that that's projected in the show, because That's important in modern television, just like Chris Pratt was um, as Lieutenant Commander Reese in the Terminal List. He was a good father and a good husband. Things just didn't go particularly well for him. So that is Outer Range. And like I said, I know not everybody is familiar with it, and that's okay. And that's part of this is I want people to look for things they aren't familiar with because it is, and I don't think we get to do it enough because there's so much content out there now, and finding the gold nuggets in the sea of other can be kind of hard if you subscribe to something, say like Disney. Ooh, that's not good. Let's see. So we have a couple minutes. Does anybody else, before we jump into my next show, does anybody else have anything that they are watching right now that's maybe not on everybody's list of cool shows? I'm asking that question while I pour more whiskey. And yeah, that's salt. Let's see. We're going to pull up your comment here. Show? There we go. Gosh. Yeah, they better have a plan. Because you don't, like I said, that's what they've done is great, but if you can't just leave it where it is right now, it doesn't work. It to end like that. And that's actually going to lead me into my next show, which is, oh, Bosch. Bosch is awesome. Harry Bosch. It's what was the author's name? Michael. It's escaping me. I haven't watched Longmire. I have not seen that. Bosch was good because there was a lot of seasons of that too. There were like now. I'm going to admit I did not like Bosch Legacy. That's the one that's on right now where he's a PI. His daughter's a cop. The primary, I think it's 6 seasons are done, and it ended well. But as far as the continuation of it, I'm not digging. Longmire, I haven't seen. I know it's a western, so I've got that much. In much the same way, I know that Yellowstone is a modern western. Thad, the Dark Winds. Let me pull this one up here. And forgive me if I'm not getting your comments. I bungle that quite a bit. I don't mean to. And there it is again. It's still not showing. There we go. Dark Winds. So I'm not even familiar with the context of Dark Winds. So is that also a Western of types? Is it a standard Western? Maybe that's a better question. And then, oh my God, Justified. Justified is one of my favorite shows. Now, the shows I'm talking about largely today, and otherwise I would have brought this one up, and maybe we can do a different type of broadcast for that, like all-time favorite shows, maybe more of a modern era, like Justified. There is nothing about that show I don't like. Timothy Oliphant is so good, and Walter Goggins, he is just fantastic. Deadwood, and I have to, I'll Deadwood with, I like 99% of Deadwood. And what's the 1% I don't like? It was a train wreck. And I know why that happened. HBO stopped funding the show in favor of Rome, which, oddly enough, is one of my all-time favorite shows as well. Now, they did that Deadwood movie. That Deadwood movie did nothing for the show. It didn't tie up the loose ends the way that you needed it to. So good. Right up until that train wreck of, I think it was that the third season. Yeah, exactly, Rosie. It was a train wreck, a literal train wreck. Oh, here we go. Talking about dark winds. Two Navajo cops investigating mysteries. So is it like a Navajo Western X-Files? Because I would go for that. I'm down with that as a man who loved the X-Files. And I like weird shows. I also like weird shows that have kind of cop stuff going into it as well. Godless. I'm not familiar with Godless, Purple. What is Godless? Aside from, oh no, I'm gonna say a joke for later because I'm gonna be on with Zach's later, and I actually have a bit of humor from my dark. So Godless, purple. You gotta. What was this Godless you speak of? Throw me a bone here. Skinwalker. Okay, I don't know. All right. Anyway, so that's about 15 more minutes here. So I'm gonna jump into the last couple of things I was going to talk about, and one of them I'm pissed off about. Not because I didn't like it, and it was a peculiar show as well. This is another one that's not necessarily on everybody's radar. It's okay, got it. What is it on, Purple? I don't know. With all the 9 million things that are out there, it's hard. I don't always find them. So the other thing. So this was a show that I stumbled on as well on Amazon called Night Sky. It's got J.K. Simmons in it, who again, he's one of those actors who I absolutely love. Sissy Spacek is his wife. So they live in a small town in Illinois. This is one of those couples who got together. They've been together forever. They are still grieving over the suicide of their son, probably 10 years earlier. And the video quality is so bad I couldn't watch it. Wait a minute, is that me? Sorry, that's a bit of bad self-deprecating humor, but it's probably true. So I know it was Zach's. The series was good though. I'm so disappointed that it didn't get picked up. So that's why I'm pissed. So they discover in their backyard a portal, and it takes them from their little house in Illinois to this place. It's a room with a giant window looking out on another planet, and man, that grabs you. And so he's older, his memory is slipping. She is just heartbroken all the time because of the death of her son. No, it's actually a pretty. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys are. I'm outside of the conversation. I haven't watched Counterpoint yet, Corey. I need to watch that. One night, a young man shows up in that room, in the transport room on the other planet. How did he get there? Nobody knows. It's a mystery. So it's kind of fun going through their days as they're trying to figure out what's going on. His name is Jude, and they're trying to figure out who he is and where he came from. And what you do find out is that there are more of these things. And there are people like this woman, who is this woman. That's nice, Roman. Stella. I'm sorry. Her name is Stella. And her daughter, Stella's been a watcher of the Gateway ever since she was young. And then her daughter is now going to be taking over duties. And there are a series of these watchers. Theirs is in Mexico. Whoops. There's another one in New Jersey. They're everywhere. And it's interesting. So J.K. Simmons, he's not a young man, but he always looks like super fit and really in shape and most of the stuff. This is another one of the Watchers. He's an asshole though. In everything he's in. In this series, he looks like an old guy. And he plays the part of an old guy very well. He's able to pull that off. You wouldn't think he would, but because he's always really strong looking. But again, I like the relationship between he and his wife. That is a major focus of the show. It's not just, if you just make the show about the weird ass portal, okay, that's a thing. But it's a weird ass portal in the midst of a drama about these people who've grown old together and lost their son. It's a weird combo, admittedly, but it was a lot of fun to watch. So I'm sad that one is going to be off the menu, as they say. And then the other one I'm going to look at is something that is kind of outside of my normal viewing habits, because you'll find this. I tend to stick with sci-fi, horror, military stuff. There are other things that I wander into, but there are other things that I look at and go, there's absolutely no way that I want to watch this. And Misses of the Empire brought me into this one. And I will, and I don't get to say that very often, especially about and on television. Oh, The Man in the High Tower. Oh yeah, Rosie, The Man in the High Tower started off. I thought it actually was very good. Certainly seasons 1 and 2, and I think it was season 3 was the last season, and that was absolutely train wreck because characters were doing things that were absolutely not in their character. Anyway, no, that's what I thought about Yellowjackets. That's what I anticipated going into this. It was just going to be basically, and so the premise of the show is they're a girls soccer team. Flying to the championships, the plane goes down in the Canadian wilderness. And I'm thinking Lord of the Flies, except with girls, and I'm going to get the whole girl power thing. I honestly didn't get that vibe from the show at all. Granted, yes, it is mostly about female characters. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I love the dynamic between the characters. This is the soccer team as a younger group. The one on the far left is Natalie. She's kind of a rock and roll type girl. She doesn't really fit in with the rest of the group. And when they crash in the wilderness, they're there for 18 months. And what's neat about this show is they go back and forth between their time in the wilderness, and they get rescued eventually 18 months later and come back. Now, a lot of freaky shit happened out there while they were gone. Winter comes. There's not food. So you can kind of put all the pieces together here about some of the things that happened up there. And they get into a very ritual, weird stuff out there. And when the plane crashes, they, of course, lose most of the people in the plane crash, and it's just their group. And not many of them that you see here in this picture make it back to the world. This is Christina Ricci. She plays a character called Misty. Misty was the nerd, the one no one wanted to hang out with or talk to ever, but she had some value when they got into the wilderness. Of course, she exploits this, and because she's never felt more wanted in her life, and she does some shit that if they found out about it, they would kill her, almost certainly. Thing is, Misty hasn't gotten a lot better after she grew up and they went back to society. She is a bit of a nutbag. And here's our whole team. And Juliette Lewis plays the grown-up version of Natalie. And the African-American lady is a politician, and then the lady to her far left is kind of normal, with quotes around it, haha, housewife. but none of these people are really normal. And like I said, I thought the show was going to go a certain way, but I enjoyed how bizarre it was. Um, and again, it wasn't like just a girl's version of Lord of the Flies, because you don't need a girl's version of Lord of the Flies. You've seen Lord of the Flies, you know what happens there. It's not pretty. But I think this is a good show, and they are getting a season 2. So don't go into it with a certain set of expectations, because that's probably not what you're going to get out of it. That's certainly not what I got out of it. I got a very entertaining show that I wanted to see the next episode. And there's also and it's more than just them. There's like weird shit in this cabin. You get supplements, and it's weird and good. So I know, and I know most of you probably haven't seen. Like I said, if it weren't for Misses of the Empire, I've seen this either. Am I frozen up? Oh, damn it! Oh, well, hopefully I didn't glitch too much on you this evening. So I'm going to be bugging out here in just a couple minutes. But I did want to thank certainly all of you for showing up. Have a lot of folks out there. It's still fun for me to get to talk about this stuff because you're kind of my peeps. I don't have tons of other friends, and this is how I get to have my conversations about nerd culture. So I am going to be hopping over to Zach's channel here after I get off. And I know some of you wanted to know I'm leaving the topic forever. The Last Ship, that I saw parts of The Last Ship. I didn't watch all of it. It wasn't being a Navy guy. It absolutely didn't work on most levels for me, and so I had a hard time with it. I get the premise of the show was very interesting. I just thought that the way that it was done wasn't really my. And I know especially with military guys, we have to suspend our beliefs a lot when we're watching things, but that one was just like way over. So at the end here, I did want to talk a little bit about my little pup. So she's acting fine. She's acting normal. She didn't the poisoning, which again we were hoping for that because that would have been treated and that would have been done. We're not there. So we took they're now treating infection. Something's wrong with her lungs, and they're testing for a fungal infection, which can be from bird poop or rat stuff or whatever. There's lots of places that can pop in, but they won't have the results back for that in a couple weeks. And then, of course, down the road, we have another specialist appointment, which I'm hoping we can cancel because I'm cross your finger. It's just the bacterial infection, and the antibiotics she's on now can knock that out. So I do appreciate you guys praying for Flannery. And anybody who has to go through this stuff, but it's not easy. We had our boy Strider. Yes, he was named for Strider from Lord of the Rings. He was our goofy as golden retriever. We lost him in 2018 to probably cancer. He wouldn't eat anymore, and there was something. It was a really bad day. And that was just absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm hoping that we don't end up down that road. So again, thank you for your prayers for Flannery, and please keep praying for her. So again, I wanted to thank you all for dropping by. And Alasia, thank you so much. And I'll see you in just a few moments over on Zach's channel, and I'm really looking forward to the R-rated content. That should hoot. And I want to thank Corey and Zach's for they were kind of the inspiration for this episode tonight, because the way they discuss, again, looking at the positives in our culture, not just the hate watching stuff, which despite my best efforts I get sucked into, because I go into a show with hoping for the best. And I get Kenobi. Then I get fun shows is more entertaining, I think, than just beaten up shows that aren't working out particularly well. Because talking about good shows, also, I'd rather have them write that. Listen to us, the fans, write that. Rather than just have us gripe about the things that we don't like about your stuff. So, on that note, we'll be jumping over to Zach's channel here in a couple minutes, and I will be on the Nerd Father tomorrow at noon, and that's always we'll see what the topic is tomorrow. If it's Thor, then I won't be able to be on, because I actually didn't get the showing too late today. So anyway, we're going to end it here within the 2-minute time zone. But I wanted to say, again, thank you to all of you for coming. And I'm on every Thursday at 5. So if you haven't, please like and subscribe. Please leave some comments. It's fun hearing from you guys and your thoughts on the topics that we discussed. So, all right, everybody. This has been Roman of the Empire, signing off. Be kind. You'd think it'd be so easy.